there, Nopenguin here, and Hedgehog! 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 For those of you unaware, in Rage of the Abyss, we got one of my new favorite cards. Rescue Hedgehog! I mean, just look at him, he's so goddamn cute. For those of you who don't know, Rescue Hedgehog is a level 4 Earth Beast type monster with 300 attack and 100 defense, just like all the other rescue monsters. Its effect reads that you can banish this card you control, special summon 2 level 3 or lower monsters from your deck with the same type, attribute, and level as each other, one of which is a normal and the other is an effect monster. Their effects are negated and they are destroyed during the end phase. So I've decided to take it upon myself to figure out exactly what we can do with our new spiky friend. But we gotta go fast, so let me show you what we can do with Rescue Hedgehog. And starting us off here, we have Hedgehog Skull Servants. Yes, this was my first thing I thought looking at this card, because when I think of normal monsters, I think Skull Servants. And luckily for us, every single one of our Skull Servant cards want to hit the graveyard, and not many of them really have any on-field effects. So by hedgehogging into one of our more powerful cards, we can actually get a huge amount of advantage off of a single normal summon. Here's a little test deck list you can net deck, but let me go into a little bit of a combo replay so we can show you exactly what it can do. And here we are. Now you can really just ignore the rest of the hand because we are literally only going to be focusing on the hedgehog. Starting us off, we're of course going to be normal summoning the hedgehog, and we are specifically going to be getting out, of course, Skull Servant, but White Baking. Because when we go for a link 2, White Baking will be able to add 2 Skull Servants and discard one of them, Prince being the one we're going to discard. Getting a couple to hand, we're also going to be adding the White Lord. White Lord is going to dump a whole bunch, and we're going to be able to grab the King of the Skull Servants from our grave, and another from the deck. So just off that single normal summon, if your opponent didn't have anything, or if you broke it with your going second cards, that one normal summon has us at 8,800 damage. And if you know me, you know I love Skull Servant, so having another card that can really help bolster the deck is absolutely amazing for me. But that's not all, because we also have Rescue Hedgehog in Plants. Essentially, you could think of this card as 3 more copies of Lonefire Blossom, with the added advantage of getting another card on top. In this situation, it's our Evil Seed. Evil Seed is the right level, type, and attribute for us to be able to just get a free body off of Loci. That allows us to not only have access to the Link 2, it also just gives us another body to work with. And to show you what that looks like, here we are actually just starting with the singular card to really show you that it is just the hedgehog getting all this off. Now obviously we have the Genesis Loci, so we're going to be able to get the regular Sensei combo off. This is of course assuming no interruptions, which the other 4 cards in my hand hopefully will be able to help us play around. But this is just showing you the amount of advantage we can get off of this singular normal summon. So of course we're going to go ahead and get into the Jasmine, tribute our twin, go ahead and grab Laurel, go ahead and get double Jasmine, Laurel, go ahead and grab us 2 Surges from deck because of these Jasmine. We are going to grab our Lily Borea and our Petal so we can pitch to the graveyard later in the combo. We'll summon Lily Borea will go ahead and grab ourselves our Therion Field spell, which will of course grab us the Regulus. From here we're going to go into the Link 3 Rosemary to grab Aroma Blend. We are going to summon out Regulus before we get into any kind of lock. From here we're going to use that discard to be able to set our Human Winds. We're going to bring back, get into Bengal Lancer, then we are going to use Human Winds and the add of our Life Points effect to grab Roselia and be able to special summon it from the hand. Her effect will activate, let us get a Major Arm from the deck, go into the Synchro will let us grab the other trap from our deck, and this is what we end off a single card. Again, this is assuming we have used none of the other cards in our hand, no kind of hand trap protection, no extra extenders, literally just the hedgehog. And with this, it doesn't really look that great, but what we have here is not only a bounce, a Omni Negate, and because of the 2 trap cards we have here, we'll be able to, on the opponent's turn at any point, be able to pop with Majorum and get additional advantage like using Blessed Winds to summon back one of our aromas from the graveyard. Now, being that it's plants, there are so many different routes you could take to get to similar or even completely different end boards. This is just one example to show that that one extra body can go enough to give us an additional bit of interaction on the final board. Now, of course, because this is a rescue monster, it is going to use our normal summon and really won't congeal well with a lot of the plant things going on in this deck. In this deck specifically, I feel like you could get away with just using the new Primite cards to just special summon this out, you know, just extra copies of the Unexpected Die, essentially. But notably, that is very much not true for the Skull Servants. You just getting a Skull Servant from deck doesn't really do as much as getting a Genus Loci out from the deck. Now, what a lot of you are probably waiting for, how am I going to use this in Penguins? Well, let me show you. This is my Rescue Hedgehog Penguin list. Or at least it would be, if we had any level 3 Thunder Water monsters that aren't normal types. That's right, we literally do not have a single effect monster with these attribute type and level. We literally can't even use it. And if we look over to Flying Penguin, it's a level 4, so we can't even use this with Rescue Hedgehog. Now, of course, we have a lot of effect monsters already we could just pair certain normal monsters with. For example, we could get our Boneyheimers, Slime Toads, or our Oppressed People to get any of our level 1, 2, or 3 penguins out from the deck. However, that really doesn't do much. And if I'm going to be using my normal summon to getting out 2 monsters from the deck, I'm going to be using the Gep. Gep is literally a better rescue everything. Not only can I get any 2 penguins from my deck, their effects are not negated, and I don't have to play a bunch of normal bricks. So unfortunately, until we get a target for Bolt Penguin, we really can't use Hedgehog in the deck, which breaks my heart. And with all the other decks with normal monsters that you'd want, I thought Ojamas potentially, but Ojamas, like when I tried to put it in Melty, really just felt like copies 4, 5, and 6 of Rescue Cat. Because since these are beast decks, Rescue Cat can already do everything that Hedgehog can do, just a little better. So where does that leave us? The more we cook with this, the more I'm really realizing maybe it's not as good as I first thought. Because I did a lot of looking for level 1, 2, or 3 monsters that we could special summon out a la something like White Baking, but a lot of the ones that I thought had potential, surprisingly, didn't have the normal monster equivalent to be able to get into it. So even if we look at this from the effect side monster, just being able to tutor out any monster from deck, we found that we surprisingly don't have the normal monsters in the game to facilitate this. And with how rare it is for Konami to be printing normal monsters, it's very unlikely we're gonna get those. Now, I did find a couple of them that work, which include using our Rescue Hedgehog to get into Plague Spreader and Clown Zombie, which, cool, but that sets you up for a level 4 synchro and being able to recur the Plague Spreader back from the graveyard, but that's not that good. Honestly, you'd probably be a lot better off just going into Unizombie. Another interesting one is going with the Phantom Knight engine, as these cards absolutely want to go into the graveyard, don't really care about how they get there, so if you use the Hedgehog, get into one of our Phantom Knights and our Science Soldier, that allows us to go for a link to get them in the graveyard and continue our plays. But all things considered, that's still not that great. And one of the only other ones I found was using Sangan. Sangan plus a normal monster, go into a link to get a search off Sangan, maybe grabbing a hand trap, maybe grabbing additional extension to go into it, but you can already do that with Tour Guide. And Tour Guide's a lot harder to brick on, so even then it's not that good. One card that I thought would really benefit from this, but just didn't have the normal monster, was Black Metal Dragon. I feel like if we had a normal level 1 Dark Dragon, there could be a potential build that would want to use Hedgehog to be able to tutor out the Black Metal from the deck, as well as getting a free link to on field. But like I said, it just isn't there, which is surprising. Darks, Dragons, these have been here since the very beginning, but we don't have a level 1 normal Dark Dragon. So, despite how absolutely adorable this guy is, I'm really not seeing a reason to play him. At least in most decks. If I'm being honest, I think he fits very well in Skull Servants. Because unlike a lot of the other examples I was showing, White Baking is the perfect kind of target that this kind of card needs. Something that you'll just link off to the graveyard and get massive amounts of advantage and really just starting your plays off. But if there is one silver lining with Hedgehog, it's that cards and strategies will come out that will be able to take use of this effect. So it may sleep dormant for just a little bit of time, but I think one day, Hedgehog will see actual play. Or maybe I'm crazy, I don't know. So I ask you, have you thought of any cool Hedgehog setups? If so, leave them in the comments, I would love to play around with them. But until then, as always, like if you like, subscribe if you want to see more. I am Nopenguin, Hedgehog's #1 fan, signing out.